Imagine changing your 4-year-old daughter's diaper and realizing that she was really red and in pain down there. So you asked her, has anybody ever touched you? And she says, yes, daddy.
Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. So let's talk about the new trophy wife, Isis.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me frequently. Money coming in to be with me. Money coming in secretly. Money coming, it's just money coming. It's just money coming to me always. Money coming in all day.
6 weeks ago, I was changing my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, and I noticed that when I changed her, she was red and very sensitive. And immediately, my first thought was, did someone touch her? Oh God. Gosh. So I asked her, I said, baby, did somebody touch you? And she ended up saying it was daddy. I felt like my world ended on that day. My husband wasn't home at the time when she told me, but I knew he would be coming home soon, so all I could do was just say, don't tell him that you told me. And I just instantly started trying to think of how I could get my kids out of the house. Because I knew if I confronted him or asked him about it, that he would just lie. And that he would probably just continue to keep doing stuff to her, but just become more covert or more sneaky or whatever. As soon as my husband got home, he was actually picking up the boys from school, my 2 older boys from school. As soon as he got home, I told him that I was gonna go Halloween shopping with my sister because I just needed an excuse to get out of the house with all the kids. And I knew if I said something like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, that it would be suspicious. Like, why am I bringing all the kids and like packing things, like things that we would need and things like that. So going Halloween shopping was the best thing I could think of to just hurry up and get the kids out of the house. I'm sorry, I had to get myself together. So when I got to the hospital, they basically told me that we had to go to another hospital because they didn't do physical exams, like that kind of physical exam there. So a police officer escorted the kids and I to another hospital where they were able to evaluate my daughters. It ended up coming out that he had actually been touching both of my daughters. who are only 2 and 4 years old. It still feels like a dream.
When are women going to grasp and understand the fact that a lot of these feminine coaches that y'all are listening to and giving a platform to are just leading you astray and are leading you to very dangerous situations? I watched a video yesterday on YouTube by a woman by the name of the New Trophy Wife. And for those of you who know who she is, she's basically makes content centered around being a trophy wife and how, you know, women need to level up their looks to get them a high value man, to get them a man to, you know, pay for their lifestyle and fund them and provide and do all these things, right? Only to put out a video yesterday saying that her husband, her Prince Charming, Christian, do good, do right by God of a man, was essaying their 2 daughters, ages 2 and 4. Now, first of all, I want to extend compassion, and I also want to extend empathy to this woman because I commend her for not only coming up on social media to be so vulnerable and tell her story about what's been going on, but also to get her and her children away from that. I think there's a lot that women can learn from this lifestyle that's being sold and to just take the wool off of your eyes. Now, don't get me wrong. I respect Shira7 in terms of her level up advice, right? Because when you make an effort to look good, when you make an effort to have hobbies and interests that are outside of a man, that's where you discover and learn about your true self, right? You're learning about things that you love to do. You are putting yourself in places where you're going to advance, right? My critique about Shira is that she's not telling you guys about how men think, right? There's a lot of rich men that are PDF files. There are lots of rich men that are psychopaths. There are lots of rich men that are serial. Why is that not being taught? And also, why is femininity content centered so much around looks, but not centered around the mind and the soul? Because as a woman, if you want to protect yourself, the thing that's going to protect you the most is how you use this. Thinking is a skill. Discernment is a skill. Whether critical thinking, analytical thinking, creative thinking, that is a skill that needs to be utilized. And what these feminine coaches are teaching you is not to use this and to just rest in your femininity. They're telling you that you should only feel feminine when you're around a man. That is so ass backwards. Women who are feminine, they hold the feminine source. They have the feminine portal embedded within them. And it is their responsibility to activate their feminine energy without it being centered around a man. You need to have sovereignty as a woman. Your sovereignty needs to be within yourself. And unfortunately, this trophy wife woman is not only giving credit to Shira7, but she's also giving credit to Kevin Samuels, who at one point before he passed made a video saying, well, if your child tells you that they've been molested by somebody, to not believe them. It's time that women need to take the wool off their eyes and see the truth for what it is, and to stop being so gullible when it comes to this lifestyle, this femininity content. Because a lot of these feminine coaches are creating content and a lifestyle that is centered around a man. And the people that are buying this, that are believing this, are women. It should not take a man to make you feel feminine, ladies. It is your responsibility to make yourselves more feminine, not to attract a man, but doing it for yourself, because that's where the real power lies. Big part of activating that femininity involves you holding up a mirror to yourself and practicing self-preservation. And a big part of self-preservation, like I said, involves using this. It's not just resting in your feminine. Has nothing to do with that. If anything, that shit's promoting y'all to be lazy. And when shit goes left in your relationship with that provider rich man, what do you have to fall back on? Because it's not going to be your femininity. You need to develop skills and thinking. You need to have outlets where you can use those outlets as assets to propel you forward and to make a life of yourself. My father always instilled in me to always have my own resources, have my own money, have my own interests, my own hobbies, and develop the skill of thinking and to make sure that my mind is always sharp. Okay? Because a lot of these women are getting got. Why? Because they're not using this. My heart goes out to that trophy wife, or ISIS, I should call her, because she changed her YouTube name, which she should. I'm sending her love. I'm sending her prayers. And I just hope that women learn from this. Okay? These feminine coaches, they're leading y'all astray. And when shit goes left, they're not going to be there to help you out of your situation. Just letting you know that. That's going to be you.
With all these videos about the trophy wife going on, if you are triggered by any of those type of videos, if it does something to your mental health, do not watch or listen. Watching or listening to things, bring it into your home, bringing it into your mind, bring it into your heart. It does more damage. My mental could never, I cannot physically watch anything to do or listen or even listening to things where it is something has happened to a child, because my mental cannot take it. I physically can get sick. I literally, my body takes over. I have an uncontrollable amount of emotions that take over. I cannot physically listen to someone saying something that someone did to a child. I cannot do it. And not only because I'm a mother, but because I have to protect myself. And those type of demons out there, that type of stuff, bringing that into your home and thinking about those things, that's why they have things called trigger warning. Hearing things like that could give someone a heart attack. Do not watch or listen to anything that could disturb your peace. I could not even watch. Like, I literally saw it, and then as soon as they said 2 or 3, that was it for me, and I was done. And you sit there and you listen to them, and then you get off your phone, and now it's in your mind, it's in your brain, it's programmed into you, and you're a mother. Turn it off. Turn it off. If I see these videos, I instantly swipe up. I swipe up so quick. Sometimes I'll just turn my phone off and turn it back on. Pray for people, protect your peace, because those type of demons is real. You don't want that nowhere near you. I do not know the story of this woman, and frankly, I do not care. I heard she's a trophy wife, and she teaches people how to be a trophy wife and how to be with a man with money. Y'all gotta stop idolizing people for money. I promise you, if you met them in real life, you would realize most of them are demons and sickos. Weirdo. Be with someone because of who they are, not what they have. Everything is not made for the internet.
This whole Shira 7 whistleblower and the trophy wife, it's been all over my timeline for the past few days. The whistleblower going at it with Shira 7 minding her business. Now the trophy wife was taking ideas from Shira 7 to bag her a husband, and allegedly a husband that she just met or whatever. And she had 2 daughters and other children. And the man did something to her daughters. But allegedly, those kids were not his. But she married him really fast. And she barely knew him, allegedly. And everybody is blaming Shira 7, saying that she's setting young girls up or other gullible women up or whatever. And whistleblower has this obsession with Shira 7 and trying to out her. And this was a moment for her to say, aha, got your moment. But Shira 7 is saying that She don't mentor pick-meshas or girls that are dumb. And Whistleblower is saying that Shira 7 is horrible, narcissistic. She's getting dragged and beat up by her own husband. So she is obsessed with single women. But the real issue is there are children who are victims of SA. This has nothing to do with Shira 7. Nothing to do with Shira 7. Absolutely nothing to do with Whistleblower. This has a lot to do with a predator. Somebody who messed with children. It doesn't matter what tax bracket they come from or whatever. There are predators in every scenarios, okay? And these poor babies were in a situation to where they were harmed. You can blame the mother for not vetting the guy properly, but you also have to blame the person who actually harmed the children. And my heart goes out to the children because that is an unfortunate situation to be in. And I hope that they get the justice that they need. But as a mother and the parent of a daughter, I'm going to say this to all people who have children. We owe it to our kids to provide a safe environment for them to be in. They didn't ask to be here. Although we can't control everything, and sometimes people who we think we can trust are not good people, that is a burden that we would have to live with because, I mean, at the end of the day, every decisions that we make as parents affects our children.
While we are talking about Isis, the new trophy wife, I want to say that she did something that a lot of Ghanaian mothers or African mothers will never do. She believed her child. She took the steps to protect her children. She took her children to the hospital for them to be tested to see what was going wrong. She did not ask questions. She did not say, oh, this child wants to destroy my marriage. She did not take the children to a pastor for a pastor to fix the problem for them. She did not scold the children. She didn't yell at them. She did not put pepper in their private parts. She believed her children, which is something that a lot of Ghanaian mothers and African mothers will never do. If this was to have happened in an African home, let me say some African home, because I know how some of you like to tussle in the comment, there will be questions. They'll be like, oh, what was she wearing? Yes, to the extent that people would ask, what was a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old wearing for them to be sexually assaulted? It doesn't make sense. How people make excuses, how people justify childhood sexual assault in our African communities, it does not make sense. It's not only women, it's men as well. Both men and women will make excuses. What was she wearing? She wants to destroy my marriage. I'm going to tell the pastor, oh, let's cover it up. Let's buy a fowl. Let's do this. Let's appease the child. Oh, you know how children can lie. Children are always lying. Isis protected her children. Something that a lot of African mothers should learn to do. To believe their children when their children tell them something. To not think that marriage is the ultimate thing, that they would put a man or their marriage above the mental health, the physical health, the psychological health of their children.
The creator on this app that found out that her husband was SAing 2 of their daughters that they have together. As soon as it was brought to the mother's attention, she removed herself and the children from the situation. And there are some people that are using this as a reason to say that you should not be following Shira 7 because of this. Like anyone can predict such a horrendous act happening to their child. Someone looking for a husband to protect and provide for their family has nothing to do with a deranged man assaulting his children. I've seen some people even go as far to say that this is what happens when you choose to be a trophy wife, and that's the life that you live. You choose to be a submissive woman, anything goes on with your children. Like, what the fuck? This lady quite literally chose her children over that man and that money. And instead of supporting a new single mom that was valuing her children's lives over a man, You sit here and try to bash her and say that, oh, this is what you get for wanting a provider. Is genuinely something wrong with you people? If anybody still has a soul, her YouTube is The New Trophy Wife. If you want to go watch her video on what exactly happened, it's completely free to watch and subscribe.
Imagine changing your 4-year-old daughter's diaper and realizing that she was really red and in pain down there. So you asked her, has anybody ever touched you? And she says, yes, daddy. And what you do is you get her and your other kids out of the house before he makes it home, and you take them to the hospital. And you have them check your other children as well, and come to find out, not only have he been essaying your 4-year-old daughter, he's also essayed your 2-year-old daughter. And you are a content creator who has built your channel around being a trophy wife and having a trophy husband. And now you have to rethink everything, because this man that you put on a pedestal have been essaying his own children. It's a very, very sad story. Her name is Isis. Her page is A Trophy Wife. The full video is on her YT channel. It is very sad. I can tell that she's beating herself up. But you will never expect for a father to be touching their own children. This is a very sad story. So my prayers go out to her and to those kids that was harmed. But you guys, don't ever look up to another couple, because you never know what's really going on behind closed doors.
Hey guys, welcome back to All Things Jenny. I'm Jenny. So let's talk about the new trophy wife, Isis. I believe that's how you say her name, the new trophy wife. She basically came out, and first of all, I thought that was so brave of her to even come out and say that, first of all, right? And plus, yes, it's because her channel, that's one of the reasons, because her channel is basically about like teaching or giving women advice about who they should date, or it's smarter to date this type of people versus the other types of people, so it's really like people who find her channel and follow what she's saying, because she doesn't go and find those people. But anyways, I'm not making any excuses for her, because I watch her. I mean, I've seen her like once or twice. I've watched her channel once or twice, but I definitely watch Shira 7, and she kind of delivered the same kind of message as Shira 7, which means marrying, the hypergamy relationship and all that stuff. So here's my opinion on this. One thing that I noticed is the fact that people were literally attacking this lady because of her choice of who she chose to date. Not necessarily pointing out the terrible, terrible man who's doing this to children, right? And it's mainly because she's teaching about hypergamy, marrying up and trying to elevate your life and your family in order to give your children a better life, and which is what, in my opinion, this young lady was trying to do, and which is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people make it seem as if like if she married like a poor man or a bum on the street, he wouldn't have done something like that if that's what he does and it's in his nature. A bum or a poor man literally has nothing to lose, so they will risk anything. Okay, if that's in their nature, they're going to do that plus some. Now, this is all alleged because we have not seen any proof of any of this. This is just her words against her husband's words, so we don't know, and we don't even know whether or not, well, she did say she should divorce him, I think, right? But my thing is, if she decided to take her children and leave, right? So she's teaching all this hypergamy, marrying rich and all that. And we're going to get to the fact that she married this man so quick without even really knowing him. Even though I'm like on her side for standing up for her children and protecting her children, because she did mention that she went through that as a child. And I believe she expressed that to him, that that's her worst fear. And that's one of her mistakes, in my opinion, is telling this man or giving him your card, showing him your card, basically, like telling him that you went through all this and that. And I get it, you're married and you want to open up and all that stuff, but some stuff just needs to stay not exposed to people you just don't know like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the story of her whole marriage is that they met and got married within like 2 months. First of all, you don't know nobody. You don't know anybody in 2 months. You don't even know them in like 2 years, okay? I grew up with my siblings and they still are learning things about me. Like, they don't even know me, because they literally tell me, it's like we don't even know you. Yeah, Yeah, but you don't know someone really in 2 months. That's crazy fast. Okay, and I'm not sure if she mentioned that she had other kids. I think she had a boy before or a child before. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that the 2 girls are his, in my opinion, because they said daddy, did this or whatever. So I'm assuming those are his kids. I don't know if she had a son or something, but even if you have children, meeting someone and marrying them in 2 months is too quick. Like, I'm not 100% sure on the whole detail about her marriage because she talked about him here and there, but majority of her story or her channel is about, giving advice, people sending their questions, and she answered them and all that. So it's really like fun, you learn some things, you leave what you don't want, and you pick some that you like, the advice. Like, just like Shira7, I watch her and I love her. She's so funny. She's literally the funniest. And nobody can ever make me hate Shira7. She is just one of, chef's kiss. Anyways, some of the advice that she gave, I'm like, oh, well, this might not work in my life and where I'm currently living. So I don't take those, but the ones that I feel that I can benefit from, I take, so just like this young lady, she was giving pretty good advice because people love poverty too much. I'm not 100% sure on the whole detail about her marriage because she talked about him here and there, but majority of her story or her channel is about, giving advice, people sending their questions, and she answered them and all that. So it's really like fun, you learn some things, you leave what you don't want, and you pick some that you like, the advice. Like, just like Shira7, I watch her and I love her. She's so funny. She's literally the funniest. And nobody can ever make me hate Shira7. She is just one of, chef's kiss. Anyways, some of the advice that she gave, I'm like, oh, well, this might not work in my life and, where I'm currently living. So I don't take those, but the ones that I feel that I can benefit from, I take, so just like this young lady, she was giving pretty good advice because people love poverty too much. Indeed, what happened to the children are horrible, and I'm glad she's able to step up, not only step up, divorce the man, even though she knows she'll have to basically start over again, not necessarily start over again in relationship, in relationship, you're starting over again. But anyways, so I'm glad she was able to do that because I know people in real life right now who is with someone who literally has no money, okay, nothing. And not to say that because he has money it makes it better, it does not make it any better. But I know people who are poor, who are doing worse than this to children, and then their spouse stand beside them. And then they sweep it under the rug and not do anything about it. This young lady, okay, she left all the great things that she was getting from him, all the spoiling, everything. And it's not funny. It's just, I have a way of delivering messages even though anyways, it's not funny at all, right? But I know people right now who know Uncle Tom is doing the unthinkable. Can't even talk. Is doing the unthinkable to all the nieces and nephews in the house or in the family. And Uncle Tom is just walking around free. People just turn the other eye. Imagine that, right? And then everybody wants to be saints all of a sudden, throwing rocks at this young lady who was literally just looking for a better life for her children's future. Which is a great thing. I applaud her for that. But the fact that, that happened is very unfortunate, and she had to, take her children's side as she should. But most people don't do that. And I wish people would really step up in real life and not behind camera. And it's not funny. It's just, I have a way of delivering messages even though anyways, it's not funny at all, right? But I know people right now who know Uncle Tom is doing the unthinkable. Can't even talk. Is doing the unthinkable to all the nieces and nephews in the house or in the family. And Uncle Tom is just walking around free. People just turn the other eye. Imagine that, right? And then everybody wants to be saints all of a sudden, throwing rocks at this young lady who was literally just looking for a better life for her children's future. Which is a great thing. I applaud her for that. But the fact that, that happened is very unfortunate, and she had to, take her children's side, as she should. But most people don't do that. And I wish people would really step up in real life and not behind camera. And yes, I do fault her for marrying this man within 2 months, if it was even 2 months, right? Or maybe 6 months. That's still too short. You don't know someone, you don't know someone in 6 months, not even for 2 years, like I said. But maybe she fell in love. How many people who hasn't met someone? Hell, people go to Vegas and meet someone and get married the same night. Maybe she fell in love. Okay, or maybe the money helped her a little bit to fall in love quicker. She could have never have known that this man was a sick pervert. You know how many men will literally start a relationship with you because they realize that you have young kids? Those are the ones you got to watch for. That's why you shouldn't be bringing up your children unless y'all really about to get married and you already, said yes. Then that's when you're like, oh, by the way, I got 2 kids. I don't have any kids. Okay, guys.
Hey trophies, so I wanted to come on really quick because in my last post someone mentioned something about how they noticed that attractive men are typically the ones that are more successful, and I think that many women don't know how to identify what a successful man actually looks like. A lot of women think that just because a man drives a nice car or a man dresses nicely that he is successful. And I'm here to tell you that that is one of the furthest things from the truth. In fact, a lot of men who are very successful, you really wouldn't even be able to tell based off of the way that they dress. Those men typically do have nice cars, but if they were to walk up to you in a store, they're going to look like the average guy. And if you have ever been in first class on a plane, then you would know that a lot of men look normal, and it's because they no longer need to prove themselves because they already know who they are. They don't have to look successful because they are successful. So I want you ladies to pay attention to not just what a man looks like, as in the way he dresses, the way he smells, or any of those other things, but I want you to pay attention to how much he is spending on you. So when I was dating, I never based my thoughts of someone's success based off of what they looked like or the car they drove, because when I was doing that, I found that a lot of the men that I thought were successful were not, and a lot of the men that I thought were normal were the ones who were actually wealthy. So you ladies need to get better at identifying what success actually looks like, and instead of placing all of the value on what these men look like, you need to place your value on the actions that they're showing you. Is he quickly and easily able to jump to your rescue if you need help, if you're in a financial bind? Is he, able to take you shopping? Is he willing to provide easily? Now, a lot of the men that look successful, they're spending all of their money on looking successful. Most of their check is going to this car that they can't afford. And unfortunately, you women are being confused and thinking that these are the ones you should be going after, when in fact, these are the ones that you should be avoiding.
I hate myself right now. I hate myself that I can't just go about my day, act like a normal person, and move on from this story. I can't. I've spent the last 4 years of my life studying at the feet of all these hypergamy and femininity coaches. Why? Because under this patriarchal system, marriage is a means of financial security. Marriage is a means of social status and protection within society. A married woman is afforded social protections and graces and perceptions that single women are not afforded. You guys need to understand this system of patriarchy that we live under. And simply by having a ring and being a wife, you are afforded a different set of privileges that single women don't get. It's just a fact. This is the system that we live under. So was I wrong for centering men? Was I wrong for pursuing this path? Was I wrong for trying to secure my future in this way? And following all these influencers? And studying under Sprinkle Sprinkle? And studying the new trophy wife? And trying to become more feminine? And attempting to learn femininity? For the sole goal of securing a marital contract that would allow me financial security for generations to come. Of course I wasn't. I was covering my behind. So excuse me if I am beyond devastated by this story. And this story hits a little closer to home than I care to admit. Than I actually want to come out and admit. But I'm heartbroken. Like, I haven't gotten out of bed today. I have not been able to get out of bed yet so far. And I hate that. I hate that I'm so emotionally attached to this person, this lifestyle, this ideology, this idea, this illusion of romance and fairy tale and a happy family. And oh my God, it's earth-shattering that this 4B movement shit is not a fucking joke. It's the real deal. That securing your physical safety and your psychological safety is going to have to take precedent over gaining financial security through a marriage contract. It's just... And it's funny because one of my first pin videos is don't get married. And as much as I wanted to believe that marriage is not for me, deep down, the patriarchal programming is so pervasive that I was not going to let this marriage shit go. I was not going to let that fairy tale go. I was not going to let the illusion of happily ever after go. I just couldn't. I physically couldn't. But this right here, this situation just might be my final straw. It just might be the end. It just might be end it all for me. It just might be the reason that I take this 4B movement and run with it to the grave.